Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the JBDC Virtual Biz Zone. My name is Tancia Campbell, and I am your hostess for this morning. And this morning, we have our presenter in-house, first time ever. And so we're so happy to have a presenter in-house. Remember, we've been doing this virtually for such a long time. We're still doing it virtually, because you still have to join us online. But for the first time since we have been doing the JBDC Virtual Biz Zone, we have a presenter in-house with us. Before I introduce her, however, and you're going to be excited when you see who, right? But before I introduce her, just want to remind you what we're talking about this morning. We're going to be looking at goal setting, how to set entrepreneurial goals and achieve progress. And you would admit that goal setting is very important when you are an entrepreneur. That's how you make progress. That's how you move from one stage to the next in business. And so this morning's presentation is going to be very important. As is customary, we are going to be recording the session, and it will be available on the JBDC's YouTube channel. And so if you know someone who did not get a chance to be a part of this morning's presentation, they can always visit our JBDC YouTube page. It's at JBDC Jamaica. Subscribe, and you can binge watch all you want, because there are sessions on there from as far back as when we started in March 2020. I also want to remind you that we're going to be putting our evaluation form in the chat, and we're going to ask you to just give us some feedback on this morning's presentation. Now to our presenter for this week. She is Miss Opal Levy, and if you remember a few weeks ago, she was here with us talking about negotiation.
Value-based pricing.
It was pricing strategies, right. Value-based pricing. So this morning, she's going to be sharing with us on goal setting. And just to tell you a little bit about Opal, and trust me, this is just a little bit, right? So she is in business for about 25 years. She has worked in both the public and the private sector. She is the co-founder and senior management consultant at Sisters Inc., which is her own company. And she is a specialist in strategic planning and business transformation. She's an affable speaker and presenter, and I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, you will be motivated and fully engaged by her presentation this morning. So, put your virtual hands together and make Miss Opal Levy welcome. Thank you very much. Over to you, Opal.
Okay, thank you so much, Tancia. It is such a pleasure to be here. But you know, I know you guys gave me a round of applause a while ago, but I want you guys to choose an emoji, anyone, and just give the JBDC an amazing round of applause for this activity that they're doing. It is so good for entrepreneurs. It is really an opportunity for you to develop and to grow and to really make a difference in the business space. So kudos to JBDC. And you know, guys, don't take these sessions for granted. Get your notepads and write, and you know, because they're saying there's a school of thought that says that when you're here and you're right, it will stick more, right? So we're just asking everybody to just make sure you take your notes and just, you know, it's a big up to JBDC for this event. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about entrepreneurial goal setting and how to achieve it, right? And everybody knows how important it is to set goals. Now, if you want to differentiate a successful business from a business that is failing, the difference is that the successful business is planning. They are doing their plans. They're creating their strategic plans. They're sticking to it. They are modifying, they're pivoting, etc. So this is going to be an exciting session today. And then as usual at the end, we're going to have our opportunity to ask questions, all right? So over to you, Abby. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to ask ourselves is, what is goal setting? Because we can't be talking about goal setting without having an understanding of what it is. So we're saying that entrepreneur goal setting is when business professionals create specific objectives for the future. Now, this is so important. When you look at our large organizations in Jamaica, when you look at our successful organizations across the world, they set goals. Now, your goals can either be long-term or short-term in nature. And when creating new businesses, entrepreneurs can set realistic and achievable goals to help them to succeed. And this, I don't want you to not pay attention to this. Goal setting is critical for your success. All right. So, let us dig a little deeper into who is an entrepreneur, because many times we mix up an entrepreneur with a business person. And an entrepreneur is a little bit more than just a business person, because an entrepreneur is an individual who is a risk taker and creates an idea for a new business. So if you're going to start a business and you don't plan to take any risk, you're not an entrepreneur. So if you know, so Mrs. Z sell bag juice right here, and Mrs. Z selling 20 bag juice right here, so and you set up a liquor shop down the road and sell 20 bag juice, you're really not taking much of a risk there, right? But an entrepreneur steps into this space and come up with creative and innovative ideas to start a new business, to be able to scale it, replicate that product or service, and make it into a large, successful organization. And an entrepreneur also designs an innovative product. They also usually have primary control over the business operations. But what is critical in all of this is that a successful entrepreneur sets goals and actively seeks to broaden their skills to manage new business successfully. And that is why I said we have to applaud the JBDC, because this is a great avenue to broaden your skills free of charge. Okay? So that is critical. Now, before I go any further, let me just put out a disclaimer out there. Now, there are a number of different schools and science around business and how to deal with objectives and key results. Now, my disclaimer is that I'm going to be using the words goals and objectives interchangeably. Other studies that you will do define goals a little different from objectives, but I really think that they are the same thing. So in my school, I am looking at it as goals and objectives as interchangeable, right? So we're going to look at that. Now, why is goal setting important? Now, as you all know, because you're all business professionals, right? You know that starting and running a business takes time, it takes patience, and it takes dedication. And so you can't just be employing all of these resources into your business. Your time is valuable, right? Your dedication to this process is valuable without having an outcome. You have to have an outcome in mind, right? So defining your goals help you to track the company's progress. So just like even in your own personal life, when Usain Bolt was training to go into the Olympics, right? And he's running 10 seconds, and I'm just making up a story here, but there must be some essence of truth around it. And he's running 10 seconds, but the rest of the field is running 9 point something. He now needs to track his progress. So if he's running 10, he knows he needs to run faster, right? And then he has to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until he's running past the entire field. And that is what really about goals and settings. And we're going to learn some things called key performance indicators and lag and lead measures. And let me tell you, as an entrepreneur, you need to understand these terms, because you're not only running the company for you or the business for you, but you also have stakeholders like your investors. And when your investors have a board meeting with you and you start to talk to them about your key performance indicators and your lag and lead measures, you sound bright, yeah? But you have to be able to understand these concepts that you're able to run your business, eh? So you have to be able to track the company's progress. You also need to be able to visualize your thoughts and your ideas clearly, because many times we run our businesses from our heads, and that is so not right. You have to be able to take the dreams, the visions, your thoughts, your ideas, and put them down on a piece of paper, right? And then you start to flesh out now as to how it is that you're going to go on this journey. And proper planning aids you in making necessary adjustments at every step of your entrepreneurial journey. So therefore, you could make a plan to do X, and you're doing the steps to achieve X, but then you realize that there's a change in the environment. You then need to do some adjustment. So we're not saying that your goals are going to be etched in stone, but because you have them there, it gives you a good milepost, a good understanding of exactly where it is that you want to go and how you're going to get there, and if there are necessary changes that you need to make along the way. Now, the final thing I have there is to say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Now, this sometimes sounds like a cliche, but guys, let me tell you, I have worked with so many entrepreneurs, and when I said to them, what is your plan for your company? They don't have a plan. What is your vision for your company? They don't have a vision. They say, you write it. No, I can't write your vision. You have to have that overarching vision as to your why it is that you're in business. Why is it that this is the particular thing that you're in, right? And then coming out of your why, we're going to get further into that, is to then pull out your objectives and then your activities that you need to do. So if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And then this little pink one is my favorite part, because a lot of persons don't plan, and then in the middle of running a business, they run into trouble. And then they go to the bank and, oh my God, but the bank said, where's the business plan? I don't have any. Where's the strategic plan? I don't have any. You go to a social media expert or a social media manager or a marketing thing to say, what is your marketing plan? I don't have any. So how are you going to be successful? All right. So if you fail to plan, and then you're going to require the services of others, you're then putting urgency on that person, an emergency on that person to do something for you, and then it's not going to be done properly because there is this rush. And I always tell people it takes 9 months to make a baby, right? Because you have to make sure, so you're giving the folic acid and you're giving all the things that the baby needs, taking your maternal, you're taking all these things for the baby to develop. It's the same thing with your business plan. You can't rush it. You have to make sure that it is done properly, so that at the end of the day, it becomes a guide for you to go forward, or your strategic plan, whatever it is. Okay. Now, for your entire process of planning, you have to start from your dreams. Okay. So my dream or my vision is that I want to create a company that is going to transform the world with IT solutions. Or I want to transform the world in how people relate to their computer systems. Or I want to transform the world in how I present a business solution. That's the dream. That's the dream, and that's a vision. Then now, coming out of your dream and vision, we then have to come down to what are your goals and objectives? What are the things that you're trying to achieve to then create that dream and that vision, or to make the dream and vision a reality? Then, after you move from what your objective, what you're trying to achieve, you now need to look at the outcome. What am I expecting? So if I'm saying that I want to increase my revenue, which is the objective, then your key result is how much you want it to be by. So if you want to be by 15 million per month or 350 million per annum, that's your key result. That's your outcome. Then now you have to look at the activities. What are the activities that I now need to do to give me this outcome? And finally, what are the timelines that you need to do in order for you to get the activities to meet your outcome, to meet your objective, and to finally realize your dream? I've shared on the screen some vision statements from 4 companies that I think most of you know. And I love this quote by Steve Jobs. It says, if you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. And I think that is for me in what I do. And people always say, well, but every time you talk, I can hear the passion in you. The passion comes from the vision that I have for my company, right? And so you have to have that vision. And sometimes when you're tired and you want to go to bed to sleep, that vision pulls you to your next success or to your next win. Look at Disney's vision. Disney's vision is to be one of the world's leading producers and providers of entertainment and information. And you realize that vision is wide, but then with the objectives, your key results, etc., it narrows it down. And then every day, Disney workers know exactly what they need to do to achieve that vision. Let us look at IKEA. IKEA says to create a better everyday life for the many people. You know what IKEA does? IKEA makes ready to assemble furniture. So they're trying to make our lives easier. Now, every single time IKEA is designing a new product, they have to find how do I make this product easy to assemble for customers? So we don't have to be putting that huge chest on a truck and by the time it reach home, it scratch up. No, we carry it in boxes with the foam and everything, and you go home and the technicians or the furniture guys come in and fix it up for you because that's their dream, that's their vision. And my favorite company in the world, and I know they have their challenges, but I always use them as an example, Amazon to be the earth's most customer-centric company, where customers can find and discover anything they might want to buy online. Listen to that, guys. That vision is so sexy because it is what it is saying is that a paramount to everything else, they want to offer the very best customer service. But then the premise of that is then to say anything that Opal wants to buy, she must be able to come on Amazon and get it. And if that product is not there, there must be a similar product of similar quality that she can get online. And then it get to me quickly, all of that. So you see the vision? So every single thing that Amazon does is around that vision. The way they distribute, the products that they get, the suppliers that they work with must all buy into that vision. Okay, so you must think about what is that vision that you are working towards for your business. And it can't be frivolous. It has to be substantial and it must be doing something for your customers. That your customers your company must be customer centric. Now, when you talk about goals, it sounds very simplistic because they say a goal is just something that you aim for. But the next paragraph on the slide says, goals are powerful contributors to successful business growth. The process of setting goals forces you to think through what you want from your business and how growth may or may not provide that. This process helps suggest directions for pursuing that growth, which can greatly improve your chances of achieving your goals in the first place. Now, guys, and this is a very powerful statement because one thing that we need to do in business is that we need to think. You can't just say, I'm going to be making banana chips and then that's it. You have to be thinking through the process. You can't just say, I want to become a movie creator. And you just say, okay, I'm going to be a movie creator. No. You have to think through the process. And goal setting helps you to think through that process. It helps you to break it down in the different steps and get you to the next level. So your goals and objectives are critical in the process, okay? Now, you guys, some of you who know me know that people always have things a little differently and a little things. Now, when we talk about the characteristics of goals and objectives, we always use the acronym SMART, right? And we still use the SMART, which is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. But I like this one, not my school of thought, but it's the school of thought that is presented here. It said it must be smart. And we want to start off with the B being bold. Your objectives must be big, hairy, audacious. And they call those bags. You have to come up with a bold goal. You can't just be any little thing that you see happening on the road. You have to start thinking creatively. How can I transform the world? How can I transform this particular activity that has been done this way for so long? How can I transform this product, which is what Steve Jobs did at Apple, so that we can get this amazing machine now in terms of Apple, iMac, Macintosh, and the combination of all of those brands, right? So your goals and objectives must be bold. They must be specific. It must be speaking to a specific area of the business. It just can't be all over the place. It must be specific. So if you're talking about revenue, that's what we're talking about. If you're talking about operations, that's what the goal is going to be about. If you're going to be talking about people or customer, that's what the goal is about, must be about. So it must be specific. The next one is that it must be measurable. Now, guys, what gets measured gets done. If you are not able to measure your goals and your objectives, it don't make any sense. Because at the end of the day, if I love to share this story. I remember I was working with a trainer once, and and he would give me sprints. And I was there sprinting away, and I think that I fast like vertical jump. And he would never tell me how fast I'm running. And one day I said to him, they run fast. And he said, well, Opal, they're doing that in 15 seconds. 100 meters in 15 seconds. And I was like, okay. Now, if he didn't tell me that I was doing it in 15 seconds, I would not have been able to push myself to go faster and faster each time. Because in my own mind, I thought I was running as fast as Veronica Campbell. But when you listen to my speed, I'm way, way, way off. So you have to make sure that your goals are measurable. Then they must be attainable. Although they're bold, it's not a dichotomy. Although they're bold, they must be attainable. That means you must be able to achieve them within a particular time frame. So if they're not attainable or achievable, we need to step back a little bit and look back at that. And finally, they must be time bound. You must have a timeline as to when you're going to finish this particular goal. Now, the first part of our presentation, we're going to be looking, and as you would have realized, around some theoretical part, but we're going to get into the actual meat of the matter in just a little bit, right? But you have to understand these terms first. Now, we talk a little bit about measurements. Now we have to talk about our key performance indicators. And what are key performance indicators? These are quantifiable measurements used to gauge the performance of your company. All right, so when we talk about key performance indicators, we're talking about net profit, we're talking about revenue at the end of the period, we're talking about current ratios, right? So we talk about employee retention, we're talking about customer experience. All of these things we can add a quantifiable measurement to, right? And so we have to be able to measure our goals and our objectives. And then now I'm going to share something that's very interesting with you, and it's what we call our lag and lead measures. Now with our KPIs, we have them in two categories. We have our lag measures, and it's track the success of your important goals. So it's revenue, profit, quality, and customer satisfaction. So these are lag measures. But what you realize about these measures is that they come after the fact. So after you've sold for the month, you realize how much revenue you've made. When you've taken out your expenses, you realize your profit. So what you find with your lag measures is that they are history. You can't do anything about that, right? Or let's use the election. So somebody in them constituency running as a member of parliament, and they wait until the election to measure their performance. You either win or you lose, right? Now, if you lose, there's nothing you can do about it. If you win, there's nothing you can do about it except celebrate. But if you are using your lead measures, and that's what we're going to get to next, our lead measures help us to track things on a shorter period. So let me give you an example of a lag and lead measure. Say we want to lose weight. So I said, for example, I weigh 180 pounds, right? And I say, I want to lose 50 pounds. So I want to go down to 130 pounds. The breeze would blow me away, but I want to go down to 130 pounds. The 130 pounds is my lag measure. It means that at the end of the period, so I said in 3 months, I want to weigh 130 pounds. So I want to lose 50 pounds. That's a lag measure. So at the end of the 3 months, I want to weigh 130. Now my lead measures are How many miles do I run every day? How many calories I'm going to take in on a daily basis? How many gallons of water I'm going to drink on a daily basis? These are my lead measures. So I know I'm going to run 3 miles per day. I know I'm going to drink a gallon of water every day. I know I can't exceed 1,500 calories per day. So on a daily basis, you're able to track what it is that you're doing to lead you to that lag measure. You understand the difference? So your lead measures are critical because they help you to get to your lag measure. Remember what we said about lag measure? That when they happen, that's it. So if every day I am drinking my water, the required amount of the gallon, I am running the 3 miles and I'm doing my 30 minutes of strength training, I am reducing my caloric intake to 1,200. Hopefully by then I should be at 130 in 3 months. Okay? So you have to now look at your business and say, what it is that I want to achieve. I want revenue of 15 million. What are the things that I'm going to do? One, I'm going to create a calling list. I'm going to get sales representatives and they're going to call 15 clients per day. So that's a lead measure. Of the 15 clients, we need to close at least 3 clients per day. You get that? You can see the difference between the lag and lead. Now, if you have your sales representatives calling these people daily, they know the number of calls that they need to make daily, then you should, at the end of the day, be able to achieve the goal that you would have set out in your lag measure. So we spoke about the lag measure, and I want us to look at I want you to understand the lag and lead measures because this is very, very critical in the whole planning process. You have to have an understanding of how it is that you're going to do your lead measures, because a lot of persons understand the lag measures. So for example, let me give you another example that I get every day from entrepreneurs that I work with. They'll tell me, oh, I'm on social media, but I'm not getting the traction that I want. Now I say to them, how many posts do you do? I do 2. That's a lead measure. What's your click rate? You know what? I'm starting to ask them the different metrics on a daily, weekly measure, and then many times they don't know. Now, if you don't understand your lead measures or your lead indicators, then you're going to have a problem. Because if you're putting something on Instagram or Facebook or wherever it is, that becomes an important part of your planning. So for some companies, they're just on social media for the heck of it, but there are others who need social media for the engagement. Now, if social media is a part of your planning process, you have to make sure that your lead indicator is clear, that I want to have 30 customers from social media every month. How are you going to ascertain that? By looking at your lead indicator. So your lag is 30 customers. Your lead indicators are your click rate, your how many persons come on, engagement levels, etc. And then you also need to look at, which a lot of people don't pay attention to, your revenue from social media. You have to be able to tie it back. Because if you're not able to measure how much revenue you make from social media, you're really wasting money on it. All right. So you have to be able to look at your lag and lead measures and be able to work with them so that you're able to make solid decisions as you go along. Now, I saw this table and I thought it was good for us to look at it. And it's really just confirming what I've just said. It says, analyze your data points. So you have to look at your key performance indicators. So you look at your goals and your objectives. Your objectives have the key performance indicators. So you have to gauge your KPIs and look at intended actions if they were or were not achieved. You also have to measure past performance, and past performance are your lag indicators. So you have to measure that and see how far are you from your target, right? And then guys, so important, and that is why I'm here today, you have to follow a structure. You have to create a plan to keep you on track. Just like if you want to lose weight, just like if you want to go to the university to study, Every single thing that you do in your life requires a plan. All right? Many times, many of us live unconsciously. And so we manifest unconsciously. But when you are able to consciously put a plan in place and consciously execute on the plan, then you'll be able to consciously get the results that you want. All right? Now, let's get into the meat of the matter. I like to call it doing it my way because I like to use what I call a balanced scorecard method. The balanced scorecard method helps you to do a plan around 4 specific areas: financial, operations, people, and customer. These are 4 perspectives of the organization. And when you look at these 4 areas, they cover every single aspect of your business. The financial looks at your any revenue that you that you earn. So you want to look at increase in revenue. You want to look at a reduction in costs. And you want to look at how can you make money from using additional assets. Then you're looking at operations, and operations talks about effectiveness and efficiency. So what are the things that we're going to do, including putting in IT solutions, creating a CRM tool? What are the things that we're going to do to improve on our effectiveness and efficiency of our processes? Writing standard operating procedures to allow for business continuity. That's also something under operations. Then we look at people. Guys, a lot of people ignore this. People talks about the levels of staff engagement and training. You go to some organizations and you get excellent service, product knowledge, top of the game staff. And you go to some other companies and oh God, the workers, they let you feel like you're bothering them. And that is about staff engagement. It's really how you're training and engaging your team. And finally, and most importantly, is your customer. Because I strongly believe with the whole heap of years of service that I've been in this industry, that if you have the right staff, they're engaged and trained, and they cannot, and you have strong operations. So whenever the customer utilizes the system, everything goes through fine, your customers will be happy, and then you'll make all the money that you want. But wherever you have a loophole in any one of these 4, you're going to have a challenge in being successful. All right? So what we want to do is to create objectives, key results, activities, and timelines in these 4 areas. All right? And the next slide might be a little difficult for you to read, but it's something that I use when I'm working with my entrepreneurs. So first of all, we start off with the first perspective, which is financial. And they say, what is that strategic objective? So I want to raise, I want to increase revenue by 15% per annum for the next 5 years. So that objective is specific because it's speaking to revenue. It is measurable because it is by 15%. It is achievable because we know that based on past history or comparisons in the industry, we're able to do it. It must be realistic and it must be time bound. So it is within 5 years. Our intended results is our outcome. So our intended results, our key results are our outcome. And so that is what it is that you want to achieve. So whatever the 15% of your revenue would be, that is what goes there under your intended results. Then your activities now are what are the things that you're going to do every single day, guys, to be able to get your results. Remember, we just spoke about our key performance indicator. What are the things, both lag and lead measures, that we're going to put in to ensure that these activities are meeting the intended results? Then we look at our baseline, so where we're starting from 0 or whatever it is that we're starting from. And then for the different years, excuse me, that we're projecting on, we look at the target cost. I always ask people to project for 3 to 5 years. It doesn't mean though that it's going to be etched in stone, because we can adjust and modify as we go along. And finally, you have to have who is accountable. I have department or division, but it can be individual. Which individual is responsible for ensuring that these activities are done? That we have the performance indicator, that we're getting the outcome and that we're meeting the objective. All right. Now, with all of that said, we also need to spend some time interpreting our measures. So, Lily, we say to ourselves that, okay, so we had our plan, and then the activities were executed according to the plan, but our goal was not met. So we never achieved the objective of increasing our revenue by 15%. All right. So you can't just create your plan and just put it down aside. Because I remember talking to somebody the other day. I said to her, you've done your plan, yeah, man, but I shelve it. That doesn't need to start the business. No. Your plan is supposed to be helping you, to guide you, as we spoke about before. Now, if you're doing the activities that are articulated in the plan, but you're not meeting your goal, then we have to say that the plan was wrong, or there was some variable affecting the problem that appeared after the plan was made. So we prepared the plan under this environment, but something or some things happened and shifted it. And because we weren't paying attention, looking at our lead and lag measures, at the end of the process, we were not able to meet our goals. The team has to either learn why the plan was wrong in the first place, or to tweak the plan for the next cycle, take into account whatever it is that is happening in the market. I hope that is clear. So this case is actions were executed according to the plan. So your team members did exactly what the plan said, but the goal was not met. You have to look back as to what went wrong with the plan and then tweak it, taking into consideration what those problems were. All right. Another case that can happen is that actions were not executed according to the plan and the goal was not met. This is interesting because your team and yourself paid no attention to the plan, and so you're not able to achieve your goal at the end of the period. It is important to understand why the plan was not executed. If there were impeding factors that were preventing the plan from being executed, the team must understand why these were neutralized with new actions or alternative paths of action. I hope you understand that what it means. So we had a plan. Nobody paid attention to the plan. We never made a goal, but nobody said, hey, Opal, we were seeing these problems, and as such, we weren't able to execute the plan. So nobody jumped back in a little meeting, and you must be meeting with your staff as a business person, like every week, to say, what is happening? Are you on target to make your goals and your objectives? So everybody must know where they fall into that, right? And if they're not action in the plan because something is happening, you have to have a conversation with the team to say, why? And if there were factors, credible factors, because many times they are, why it is that nobody brought it to my attention? So we could have looked back at the goal. So you have to be on point, entrepreneurs. You have to be looking at your plan and looking where you are from achieving them. Another case that we had where actions were executed according to the plan and the goal was met. Actions were executed according to plan and goal was met. Is that enough? No, because Opal is a little slave driver. So what I believe is that if we executed the plan and we met the goal, we now need to find out how it is that we're going to learn from what we have done, right? So even when goals are met, team must thoroughly analyze the achievements and evaluate if they were met in great part because of the action plan or because of external factors. So say, for example, we said, we sold ice, right? We sell ice. So ice is our company. And our plan were to employ 3 sales reps who will travel right across Jamaica and get customers, etc., etc. So the plan was executed, but guess what? In the middle of that, we had a serious heat wave passing over Jamaica. And because of the heat wave, it increased the demand for ice. You realize it was not a large part of that did not come from the action plan. It came from other factors. So the question is, we then need to ask ourselves, were there external factors? What were they? Why were they foreseen? Well, in the case of the heat wave, we might not have been able to determine that, but then we now need to understand what it is that we now need to do, because maybe the plan that we would have put in place to say that we now need to execute and send your sales reps, maybe that was not the best strategy, because it was really the heat wave that really caused the increase. So even meeting your goals and executing on the plan does not mean that you would have completed your job. You now need to investigate why we were successful. All right. Another case we have is actions were not executed according to the plan, but the goal was met. So they never did what we're supposed to do according to the plan, but the goal was met. Again, it's important to understand which unforeseen factors contributed to the goal and why they weren't foreseen. And entrepreneurs on the call, it is so important for us to be in tune with our businesses. Many times we are so caught up with the product itself that we are not looking and checking and analyzing and measuring our plan. All right, and I have to pause for that because this is important. And when you see organizations spending millions of dollars for strategic plan retreats and going away for 2 months to plan to create their strategic plan, is because it is important. And senior executives hold their staff members accountable. And if they don't make the plan, they're going to get into trouble. You need to do the same thing for your business. You have to hold yourself and others accountable. But you have to make sure your plan is done and make sure that there are cases today. But let us look at this one. Actions were executed according to plan and the goal was surpassed. This is the ideal situation. And for me, we still need to assess. We need to have our celebration Fridays. We need to say, yeah, you have to celebrate our successes. But then we now need to say, what are the things that we did right? What are the things that we did wrong, right? So that the next time now, we are able to do this. Now, in asking questions, I use 2 analyses. I use the 5 whys. And some people find the 5 whys annoying, but it's really asking why 5 times. So say, for example, the root cause of the problem. Say we want to ascertain the root cause of the problem. So we say, when people stay at the first level of a problem, they tend to overlook the real root cause. So the question is, why did sales fall by 10%? And the team is going to say, because of the demonstration. It kind of, okay, because of the demonstration, the sales fall by 10%. Another why, you need to ask another question. Why did the demonstration affect the sales? And then your team can say, because some streets were closed and our trucks couldn't reach the merchants. And then you ask yourself again, you ask the team again, why didn't we use smaller trucks to deliver goods on that day? And then the answer is because we don't have smaller trucks, right? And so because we don't have smaller trucks, what we now need to do is that we now need to have an investment in smaller trucks. That in this case where we're delivering to a volatile area where there might be demonstrations, the only way we can get our vehicles in is if they're small, then we now need to make a company decision. You see that? And that is how the 5 whys work. You keep asking why and why and why until you get to the root of the problem. And then in getting to the root of the problem, you're then able to solve it. All right? And then the next analysis that I do is a fishbone. And the fishbone uses a very similar concept where you look at the 2 hypotheses. We had demonstrations, because the sales fell because of demonstrations and lower temperatures. And then we look at what are the things that coming off of the demonstration. The streets were closed there were less demands, employee absences, and then we keep going further and further back until we come to the root cause of the problem. All right, guys, so it is so important. Let me tell you, you can't have a plan and you don't analyze it. So you have to have your plan, you have to measure your plan, and you have to analyze the result of the plan. And guys, it is so important for us to do the analysis, and you have to encourage feedback, because many times we tend to shut down staff when they give us the reasons and thinking that maybe they're giving us an excuse. But we have to listen to the reasons, and as entrepreneurs, we now need to say, is this reason worthy of us exploring so we can make the correct decisions to go forward? And JBDC is a Jamaica business development. So it's not only for startups, it's for all businesses. It's an opportunity for us to see how it is that we're going to run our businesses. Because this is not only applicable to startup and small businesses, and micro, this is applicable to all businesses. It is so important for us to have our goals and our objectives and do our analysis, okay? Now we're wrapping it up now, because I think I talk a lot and you now need to ask me questions. So wrapping it all up, there's a study was done by Dr. Gail Matthews, and it found that persons who were successful were the persons who actually wrote down their goals and track it every single day. Those are the persons who are successful. Many persons in business, 76% of them don't write down their goals. And that is why such a high percentage of small businesses fail, because they don't write down, track, and measure their goals. All right, so we have to make sure that we are writing down our goals, and not only writing down our goals, we have to understand how to measure our goals. And then after measuring our goals, we need to analyze the information that comes out of the measurements, all right? So that we can improve on the strategy every day. All right, so just in a nutshell, now we have to make your goals, make them visible, guys. Some people talk about vision boards. If you want to do your vision board, that's fine, but you also need to document. Write it down and develop a plan. Break it down and develop a plan. Break it down. I can't say that over and over again. Break it down. Don't make it be too high flowing that not even you can understand it. It must be easy. And every day before you get to work, you pull out that section that is applicable to today, and you make sure that it is done. Take action, keep perspective. We always go back to the vision. Always go back to why you exist. You have to be accountable. What does that mean? You have to also hold yourself accountable. If you make a mistake, accept the wrong and correct it. Don't point fingers. Accept it and move on. And importantly, we have to reflect and adjust. All right? So Sansa is ready because she's ready to also set up her own personal goals. So it says, now that you know how important goals operate, it's time to take the first step towards setting goals and achieving them. Whether it is your personal goals for yourself or your company-driven goals for your team, the goal setting process can help you find purpose and meaning in your life. Right? So for some of us who are looking for a spouse, we have to write down our goals. Who it is that we're looking for? His age, his intelligence, all of that, write it down. All right, and then you go after you make sure that you are able to meet these goals by doing the activities each and every day. And finally, guys, don't put too much pressure on yourself and your team members. Even if you don't reach all your goals, just have them written down can provide a deeper sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. Write them down, gradually work them through, and get yourself into the space where you are able to achieve your goals. And if you didn't achieve your goals, how it is now that you will tweak it to get you to that space that you become successful. So with that, is it for my presentation today. Any questions that you have? Over to the team.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I trust that that presentation was as interesting for you as it was for me. I wrote down a couple of things. But before I mention the things that I wrote down, I'm inviting you, if you have any questions, please, you can begin to just drop them in the chat so that Opal can respond to you. And also a reminder, I've posted the feedback form in the chat and we're asking you to just fill it out and let us know how you feel about today's presentation, as well as what you want to see us address in future BizZone segments. So I wrote down the last 3 points, which was write down, track, and measure your goals. And one of the things I love about this morning's presentation is the fact that it is applicable to whether you're actually starting a business or if you're just looking for something for your own personal growth. Opal mentioned if you're looking for a spouse to write down write down some of the characteristics that you want. Write down some of the things that you want to see in this spouse, and you will be able to achieve them. I also love the quote from Steve Jobs. If you are working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision will pull you. And I'm a strong believer in visualization. I tell people all the time, how I get through my day is that I see the end of the day and then I write down or think about, okay, how am I going to get there? So it was, yes, Celia, it was really a very informative presentation. I want to thank Opal for coming in and for sharing with us. And we don't want her to leave without any questions. So I see a couple of things coming up here. So let me pose them to you. Candice Delight is asking if you can suggest ways to analyze the results of the plan, of his plan that he will have.
Right. So if you look at if you make sure that the objectives are clear and measurable, how do you analyze that? So say, for example, you're saying, I want my revenue to be $10 million per month, right? How do you analyze that? So first of all, you're going to be looking at what are the activities that I need to be doing every day to ensure that I am getting my sales reps out, I'm contacting my customers, how many customers they are getting. So we're looking again at the log and lead KPIs. And then at the end of the process now, we say, did I meet that $10 million per month in revenue? I hope that was the figure that I had used. No, that is how you do it. Now, as we mentioned in the presentation, if you're not making the 10 million, then you have to then speak to your sales representatives or question what are some of the things that you are doing, why it is that you're not getting to that level. Am I going after the wrong customers? You know, so these are some of the questions that you also have to ask yourself, and then you have to tweak the plan so you can get to the outcome that you want. But you have to be very specific though in terms of looking at your plan. Make sure that your plan have all the characteristics that we spoke about. And then when it has all of those characteristics, then you're then able to then measure and then analyze from the information that's coming out of the measurements or the results of the measurements. All right.
All right. I hope that answered the question, Candice. Denise Robinson says, I've seen where business plans can be pages long and also a single page. What would you say is the best practice with regards to depth?
All right, so that's a very interesting question. Now, a business plan cannot be 1 page long, all right? And let me tell you, there are different stages of the business, and where the business plan is written indicates the length of the business plan. So therefore, say for example, you have, say for example, you just have your idea. And you say, okay, Opal, I need you to write a business plan for me. But you haven't done any customer development. You haven't done any market research. You haven't created your operational strategy. All of those things, then we now have to then go and research, investigate, and then put that all together to inform you. You understand? So a business plan of that nature would be long because there's a lot of work to be done. if you have a business that is already in operation, you have some past performances that we can look at, then it's not going to be one page, but it's going to be shorter. But for me, for companies that are already in existence, I don't recommend business plans, I recommend strategic plans. And the difference with the strategic plan is that you've already passed the product concept, you have already passed sort of having a good understanding of your customers and who those persons are, and you now start focusing on building out the business. And so your strategic plan, looking at the 4 perspectives of financial, your operations, your people, and your customer, what are some of the objectives that we're going to be trying to achieve in these 4 areas to put the business forward, or to make the company, the business more successful. So I get you. Sometimes some business plans can be very long and tedious, but it all depends on the objective, because that's one question I always ask my clients in consultation. What is the objective of the business plan? If the objective of the business plan is to inform you, it is going to be long. And inform others of what it is that you're doing. If it is that you really want, the main reason is to raise capital, or to get you to scale your business, or to grow your business, or to take your business to the next level, then it's going to be shorter, and the information in the plan is going to be different. So you have to have all of that information in mind as you develop. So you have to have that objective in mind, you know, when you're creating that business plan, and make sure you talk to your consultant to let them understand the main reason of your business plan. If your main reason of the business plan is to give to an investor, something is wrong, because you should not be doing a business plan only for your investors. You need to be doing a business plan for you, to guide you. So you have to inform you, but also to guide you. So you have to make sure that your business plan, and don't just do your business plan and put it on a shelf, because it is the process to start the business, right? You have to make sure that you are you're using it to inform the process, and you keep adjusting as you go along. So I hope I was able to answer that question.
All right, so someone, yes, you said it was clear. All right, so someone was asking if they could get the strategic plan worksheet.
Yes.
All right.
I leave it with Sansia.
All right, great. So when I get it, I will forward it to you. All right. There's a question that I saw. Can an outline for this business be made available for us? Nancy, can I invite you to just raise your hand and ask that question, because I'm not so sure what exactly you're asking. So just stick your hand up and we will allow you to unmute and ask your question. And if there are any other questions or comments, you can drop it in the chat. Moses Fennel is saying, need your mentorship soon. Moses is one of the premier local fashion designers in Jamaica right now, and he is also a part of our accelerator program.
Okay.
Cohort 4.
He also says the business plan is many pages, while a business model canvas is 1 to 2 pages, and that is true. The business model canvas, I love the business model canvas, and before I write any business plan for any client, I always do the business model canvas, because it gives you a snapshot of the key important things of the business, right? So it starts off with your value proposition, which is your why. Why am I in business? Why am I doing this? What is that value that I'm passing on to the customer? What is that gift that I'm giving to the customer? It moves into your customer segment, who exactly it is that you're going after, who you're targeting, where these people are. It goes into your client relationships. What are the things you're going to do for your customers to fall in love with you? It looks at your revenue streams. It looks at the channels. How are you going to get your business to the market? Eh? It looks at your key partners, your key activities, your key resources, and it looks at cost. So it is a beautiful document. I love the business model canvas. I'm excited about the business model canvas because it really gives you a good idea as to what your business is all about. So yeah, yes, Moses, I agree with you on that.
All right, great. Nancy, we have unmuted you, so please go ahead with your question.
It's a really interesting presentation. I am thinking of doing a business, and listening to what you're saying, but I'm saying can I have what is it? An outline, a model, a sample piece so that I can at least do the initial part of the business plan or the model canvas. Yeah.
If you go on our website, www.jbdc.net, you should be able to access a sample business plan template.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, so you can just go on there and you'll be able to access that.
Okay.
I think it's under the resources tab. All right. All right.
Yes, if Denise asked about the business model canvas, yes, you can go online. I think there's a
Google.
Yeah,
Search.
there's a thing called Strategizer that they're the ones who actually created it. So if you go online and look for that, you can see the business model canvas template and then you can get it done. But get some help in completing it, because many times I see persons doing it by themselves and it sometimes a little wrong. You need to get some guidance in getting it done, eh?
Moses said canvanizer.com is one for
right. Yeah. Canvanizer.com. Yeah.
Okay. All right. It seems as if we have exhausted the questions. Everyone is commenting that it was an excellent presentation. So we ask you to please share that with us on the evaluation form that we have placed in the chat. Opal, thank you for traveling from far. I'm not telling them how far you're coming from. But thank you for traveling from far to be with us this morning. We really appreciate it. Come next month, which is going to be our next set of biz zones, we're going to be focusing on the customer, I believe. Customer, I don't have the specific topics in my head right now, but we're going to be focusing on the customers. So we have 2 sessions next month on the 13th and the 20th. And then we will tell you how we'll proceed from there on out. But we have quite a bit of exciting activities coming up for the remainder of the year. So that same space in which you get your biz zone information, keep watching this space. You can also feel free to follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, all as JBDC Jamaica. So just search for us and follow, and you will be able to access all of our information. Also to remind you, this morning's session was recorded. So anybody missed it, they can always access it on YouTube at JBDC Jamaica. You should be able to access it by about Friday of this week. So I want to thank everyone for joining us and have a fantastic rest of the day.